Mr. Mungy, if I could just start with you, I just want to make sure I understood your answers to my colleagues, including Senator Cruz. Let me just read you something. I just want to know if you agree with this or not. This should be simple. Here's a statement: the demand to center Israel's right to self-defense, that's in scare quotes, self-defense, erases the colonial context and delegitimizes the Palestinian right to resistance. We are in awe of the Palestinian struggle to resist violent occupation, removal, erasure, and the expansion of Israeli settler colonialism. Do you agree with that, yes or no? I realize you didn't write it, and you may not know who the author is, may never have heard of these people before. I just want to know, does this represent your view, yes or no?
Senator, any attempt to justify what happened on October 7th?
So Adil Abdullah Mangi, he's a Pakistani-American lawyer who is nominated to serve the U.S. Circuit Judge, United States Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. He was nominated by President Biden back in 2023. He was confirmed. And here, Josh Hawley, Senator of Missouri, is in a line of questioning with him.
I have absolutely no...
Well, that's not the context here. This is talking about any discussion of Israel's right to self-defense erases the colonial context. It's calling Israel a colonial state. So could we just answer my question? Do you agree with this, yes or no?
Senator, I don't claim to be an expert on the Middle East. I don't have the historic or regional
That sounds like a maybe. That's a maybe. Maybe you agree? Can we get a yes or a no?
If
you ever find yourself in any of these hearings being asked questions, just answer the questions very clearly. Yes or no. I do agree with it. I don't agree with it. If you start fumbling in between, it is not going to go well.
Say this is a policy question or a question for
wait. That's what I don't understand. By the way, this was written by the director of the center you sat on the board of, that you advised. This is the director, not some random professor, the director, who published it in an open letter. So when you say it's a policy, what's the policy about calling Israel a violent settler colonialist state? Why is that a policy question?
Senator, that is not a statement that I had any involvement with.
Okay, good. So would you condemn it then? You say this does not represent your views.
Senator, I have no basis as a judicial nominee to cast views on the Middle East. What does or does not happen.
This is what you're not answering my question. I'm asking you whether this individual who said that Israel was a violent settler colonial state, I'm just trying to get you to say, do you agree with that or not? And I've asked you now 4 different times, 4 different ways. You're not answering me. Why is that? Why can't you just say, no, I don't agree with this? Let's try again.
Yeah.
Do you agree with this statement, yes or no?
Senator, in order to agree or disagree with any statement, I need to have a sufficient factual background to assess it.
So
it's the same thing as Matt Walsh asked someone, are you a man or a woman? And they answered that I am not an expert in biology.
In other words, you can't say whether or not Israel is a violent colonial state. You think that's a difficult question?
God. That is not an issue with which I have any expertise.
Is the Holocaust...
You don't need expertise.
Does that need context?
No.
Is that a policy question?
I am quite happy to address the Holocaust, Senator.
Why aren't you happy to address this then? Why is it that an individual on the center that you directed calls Israel a violent colonialist state? Those are racist comments. Why can't you condemn that? I don't understand it. You won't answer my questions. You won't answer Senator Cruz's questions. You wouldn't answer Senator Kennedy's questions. I don't understand why this is complicated.
Senator, I'm Pakistani. I didn't grow up in the Middle East.
I didn't either. I didn't either, but that doesn't mean that I can't say that somebody who says that a Jewish state is a violent...
I'm a man. I did not grow up a woman. I cannot tell you what a woman is, right? This ideology doesn't pass. It does not work. It doesn't get you out of having moral clarity.
Colonialist enterprise is wrong. This isn't a policy question. It's a moral question. This is a moral issue.
Senator, I am not in a position to make any policy pronouncements about actions in the Middle East.
Does Israel have a right to exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Should American Jews be safe in their homes and on their campuses?
Whoa.
Senator, there is
Just
no...
Yes or no, please. Spare me the lectures. Yes or no? Did you advise against this letter? You sat on the advisory board. Did you advise against it?
I never even heard of that letter.
How is that possible? What did you do on this board for all these years? This was years before you left it.
It's an advisory board that met once a year to talk about academic research.
Do you not think it's relevant to the setting in the academy that Jewish students might feel unsafe when they have a tenured professor who's the director of a center saying that Israel is a violent colonialist state? Do you think that may not have an effect on the educational environment?
Senator, I abhor.
But you didn't care to look into it?
May I respond?
But I've heard your answers, and they're all move over here, look over here. You're not answering any of my questions. And I can't figure out why. I can't figure out why you won't just say that this was wrong. So you didn't advise against it. You didn't condemn it. You didn't look into the center's activities. Do you regret that? Do you regret not at the time taking a moral stand against these frankly racist condemnations of Jewish Americans, Jewish people in the state of Israel? Do you think it was wrong for you to be silent?
Senator, I didn't know anything about
Why
it.
didn't you? Didn't you have a moral obligation
now,
to know about a center that you sat on the board of for years, whose director was calling Jewish people colonialist, violent settlers? Do you not have a moral obligation to know and say something?
That is not the function of an academic advisory board, but I abhor.
But it
any
is the function of
anti-Semitism.
a responsible jurist and a responsible citizen. And I would just suggest to you that you failed.
Gotta love Senator Cruz taking swigs of. Is that Dr. Pepper right there? Looks like a Dr. Pepper zero sugar. No?
And your inability to just say, this was wrong, this shouldn't have been said, this kind of language and rhetoric is what has led directly to Jewish American students now being called out on campuses, in classrooms, told to stand up and go and stand in a corner because they need to feel what it's like to be colonized. I'm sure you.
For the Elon Musk Heil Hitler people, look at Senator Hawley right there. If you want to get a screenshot and do your thing on X, go for it right now.
You've seen the reports of this happening across the country. This is happening now.
Senator, your time has expired. Mr. Manji, would you like to complete an answer?
No.
Thank you, Chair Durbin. Any acts of anti-Semitism or any bigotry, including anti-Muslim bigotry, on college campuses is abhorrent. My children will be going to university soon. I want them to feel safe, and I want the children of my Jewish friends and colleagues to feel safe too.
Well, you think you'll take a greater interest when your children are on campus, maybe, than you did for the last 3 years?
Interesting. I want to just touch on a point right there, and it happens a lot when he felt the need to say at the end that no anti-Semitism is acceptable and no anti-Muslim behavior is acceptable. We're talking about anti-Semitism here right now. He's asking about that. Why pair them together? Why take this opportunity to pair them together? He's not asking you about Islamophobia. He's not talking about that right now. He's talking about anti-Semitism. We know how you feel about that. Why bring that up in the same sentence? There are Jews being killed and bullied around the world. This is the topic at hand, and you want to bring it. Well, no racism at all is acceptable, including anti-Semitism, but none is. Huh? Why you gotta talk? Why you gotta pair everything into that? Why can't you just answer the questions that are being asked?